Yo, what's going on, man? Today's episode 162. In today's video, what I'm going to be going over is 3 mistakes to avoid when trying to lose weight. Okay? Now, these are particularly for people who are just starting out, as these were common mistakes I made when I first initially tried to lose weight. Okay? So, to start off, one of the first mistakes I did when I was trying to lose weight was I did an excess amount of vigorous cardio. Okay? An excess amount of vigorous cardio. So when I mean an excess, I did a lot of cardio, but I was doing like vigorous cardio when it came like kind of like running or jogging regularly. Okay? Now the reason why this is a mistake you should avoid is because look at a marathon runner, for example. Okay? If we look at most marathon runners, they're built fragile and weak, man. And unless you're trying to go for that look, you probably do not want to be doing vigorous cardio, all right? Because it's gonna break down a lot of your muscle, and instead of losing fat, you're gonna be losing muscle, which obviously, ideally, you'd want to keep the muscle too. So when it comes to cardio, you can do regular cardio, however, keep it either make it short intervals of high intensity, so like do sprints, which I hate doing, or you could do the method I choose, which is a regular walking pace that's slightly faster than your regular walking pace, and then go on an incline on the treadmill, so kind of simulating walking up a hill at a very fast pace. All right, a good rule of thumb is if you're able to talk while doing your cardio, that's considered good low intensity. Okay, but if it's enough for you to catch at least a sweat, if you do it for 20 to 30 minutes, don't do 20 to 30 minutes of running or jogging. Okay, you can do sets of sprints. That's very effective and it takes the least amount of time. But if you just want to keep it light, do low intensity cardio for long periods of time. Don't do high intensity for a long period of time. All right. So the second mistake I made when I was trying to lose weight was I wasn't eating enough protein. Now, anyone that comes from a South Asian household knows that protein is probably the least prioritized food group when it comes to what gets cooked in the house. Okay, most of the times we're eating rice, we're eating naan, we're eating pasta, like very little meat. Okay, and this is a big issue because when you're losing weight, if you're not consuming enough protein, once again, the body will sometimes break down your muscle instead of the actual fat. And this can result in you, when you finally lose the weight, having a skinny fat frame where you may look skinny from the clothes, but you still have like some excess fat around your stomach, your lower back, and your chest. You obviously don't want to look like that, because the only way you look impressive is when you have your clothes on. But you also want to look impressive when you don't got your clothes on. Pause. But you guys get what I'm trying to say. You want to be aiming between 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, for example, 150 times 1 is 150 grams. So, or 0.8 times 150 is about 120. So you need to be aiming for 120 to 150 while you're losing weight, because this will help ensure that you keep as much muscle as possible and your body burns the fat instead. Okay, the final mistake I was making, number 3, was that I wasn't doing a form of resistance training. As I mentioned earlier, I was doing a lot of running and jogging regularly every day, which is great. All right, I'm not saying it's not effective for losing weight. However, because I didn't have any muscle to start off with, because I was a beginner, so I really stress that if you're a beginner to avoid these 3 mistakes. But because I was a beginner, I had no muscle at all. Okay, so what do you think my body did? When I wasn't resistance training, by the time I actually did lose a considerable amount of weight and people were like, oh, you look good, you look skinny, this, and this, I still felt fat because I had an excess amount of fat on my stomach, my lower back, all the spots you don't want to have fat as a guy, man. So by incorporating resistance training at least 3 to 5 times a week, okay? Ideally, I would say every day, but I know there's a couple of you that are weak, which is cool, man. That's cool. But for the ones that are real hard ones, I would ideally want you to work out every day, but let's say you do it 3 to 5 times a week and you want to do a form of resistance training. So something that is activating your muscles, for them to be used, if that makes sense. Like you want to do weightlifting, that's the best option in my opinion, all right? Because not only is it gonna help when it comes to burning fat, because you're now working out your muscles, so you're building more muscle. And when you build more muscle, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but when you build more muscle, what ends up happening is your body burns more calories at a natural state. So you don't even have to be doing extra cardio if you have an excess amount of muscle on your body, because it will burn it naturally and stuff. So that's awesome, because it's going to help you get into a caloric deficit and make it even deeper, so you're losing even more weight. Or it allows you more flexibility in your diet to, maybe eat a little bit more or have some snacks or treats every now and then, because you have a lot of muscle to begin with. All right, if you do not lift weights and eat the protein and do an excess amount of cardio, those 3 things I said to avoid when trying to lose weight as a beginner, if you do end up losing the weight, you're gonna look very unimpressive, weak, and you're gonna hate yourself for not listening to these 3 tips, all right? But listen, man, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Give it a like. If this is your first time watching, subscribe and catch more daily content about fitness and mentality. If you yourself are having trouble when it comes to losing weight and you feel like you need that extra push, click the link in the description. I have an application form where you can join my coaching academy, where I'll work with you one-on-one personally to come up with a game plan that's customized for your lifestyle. If that sounds like something that you would find beneficial for you, click the link in the description. If not, man, just continue to watch these videos right here. I'm going to try to give as much information and game as possible to hit your fitness goals, so you can go through the YouTube videos if that's your thing. But other than that, man, I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one.